Gotta get on some extra light. What's good, everybody? Look up. We are here. We have made it. The Superman trailer officially released today. And yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk about it. I said in my reaction, if you haven't checked out my reaction, check out check out that reaction because yeah, you definitely see what I thought of the trailer. Also, Ironheart as well. Ironheart got a trailer. I did a reaction to that. Did some shorts. Your boy's been busy today. It's been a pretty busy day for me. Been doing a lot of content, trying to get myself out there, and just trying to provide the best quality content I can for you guys. So yeah, with that being said, let's dive straight into this. Superman. Man, what a trailer. I enjoyed everything about it. I thought it was phenomenal. I like the story that they're telling. This is my favorite trailer that they've released. I honestly don't think they need to release another trailer. I thought the trailer is just really good. Told you what you need to know about the story, so again, I don't really need to know anything else. The first trailer obviously is iconic because it's just that shock element that's like, oh my god, we're getting a Superman movie. After all these years, a hopeful Superman movie at that. So that element, but this trailer is kind of like, okay. And I'm not gonna lie, this Superman has aura. I can already tell this Superman has aura. And I said in my reaction, I said that this Superman reminds me so much of My Adventures with Superman. I He reminds me a lot of just his character, his personality reminds me a lot of that animated series. And if you guys haven't checked out My Adventures with Superman, it's up there with one of my favorite DC animated shows. I love it. I love season one. I love season two. Excited for season three. I wish I would have covered My Adventures with Superman on this channel when it came out, but hey, we're here now. We're being able to do it. So, yeah. Anyway, more on Superman. Uh, Lex Luthor is the number one hater, is the one thing I got from this trailer. He is the absolute number one hater. If there's anyone who should dislike Superman in his entirety, it's Lex Luthor. And just the dialogue with him, he doesn't call Superman a man. He's like it. Like it. Like that's wild, right? To call someone not him it. So that's crazy. I'm definitely looking forward to his motivations even more because it seems like, from the trailer, we got a little bit of that motivation, but I think we definitely need more of what his motivation is, why he hates Superman so much, why he wants Superman to, at all costs, just be completely banished by society and that sort of thing. So I'm sure we're gonna get that. We're gonna get his motivations. You can kind of feel it a little bit, but again, I think we just need a little bit more, and I'm sure the movie will tell us that as it goes on. Hey, what's up, Chill? Yeah, biggest hater. Yeah, he's definitely the biggest hater uh around, and he does it in such a very smug and like charismatic way at the same time. But it's like, man, like this dude really just does not like Clark Kent, does not like Superman. So, yeah, that's one thing. Another thing, we finally got footage of the engineer. We saw her like in the trailer, but it was like a far off shot, so you really couldn't see her. But we finally did get to see her. She didn't have any lines, at least not that I thought. So um as far as like that, like I'm really curious. I don't know much about the engineer. I know that she's in the Authority, and I know that's one of the projects that Gunn has lined up. But as far as what her role is going to be in this film, I would imagine she's probably working under Lex. So she's going to be Lex's, muscle. I would say, machine and muscle, and I think just kind of seeing her powers, her turning, her hands into saws and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't know much about her. I just know that she's able to, she's really hit into machines and stuff, I guess, like technology, I guess. Again, I don't know much about her, so I can't really speak on her, but she's a very interesting character. We obviously saw a fight with her in Superman in a baseball field. I remember there being images a while back before this movie, and that's wild. That some of this stuff that we've seen in the movie is like legit set images that we saw all those like a year ago, right? The stuff with the building falling over and the debris there. We didn't know that was going to be a part of some big fight. Then you have again with Superman and the engineer fighting in the baseball field. We saw little images and photos of that and videos, but we didn't really know what it was going to be. So to see all this just kind of culminate together is really dope. And I'm sure you guys saw my reaction. The thing that got the biggest pop out of me is Mr. Terrific. Listen, I am someone who's big about, for me, I love seeing, black characters. Because again, I'm black and I'm proud to be. But it's dope to see black characters get into the limelight because I don't think we've seen Mr. Terrific before. Maybe he has been in something else, but I haven't. Maybe, I'm pretty sure he's been in some of the animated stuff. But just seeing Mr. Terrific in live action and seeing his prowess, I just hope they do right by Mr. Terrific. And I hope that with this film, it gives Gunn the opportunity to do a project with Mr. Terrific, whether that's a movie or a show or him building up the Terrifics, whatever they decide to do. I just hope this gives them the opportunity to, you know, capitalize on that because I think Mr. Terrific is a very interesting character that you can go in a lot of directions with. So I was very excited, super happy to see Mr. Terrific. Yeah, so I know the actor. He was in the one of the X-Men films that I remember. So I know he's gonna kill it. Crypto, I mean, come on, Crypto. A dog is a man's best friend, or a cat, whichever you prefer. But Crypto, I mean, come on. He's a playful pup. He definitely is going to be very helpful for Superman. You saw him trying to legit fight the engineer at the Fortress of Solitude. So I'm definitely curious to see how Crypto's personality is going to be explored even more throughout the film. Is he going to be sort of more of a rogue kind of dog that kind of does more of his own thing, or is he going to be more loyal to Superman as the movie goes on? That's something we'll have to see. I kind of want to learn a little bit of his origin too about Crypto in the film. Maybe we get like a little bit of a small scene or some dialogue kind of talking about like Crypto, you know, how he, became who he is and things like that. So yeah, again, I so many things that I would love to talk about in the trailer, but I kind of want to get to your guys' comments. I don't want to ramble on too much about my thoughts. So yeah, let's see what you guys are saying. Hey, Caden, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, new Superman, man. Amazing trailer. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm very much looking forward to the film. A lot of elements building upon in the DCU, and it isn't just Superman. We got Guy Gardner, we have Hawk Girl, we have, so many different characters. We got the Hammer Baravia, which kind of makes me wonder who's under that suit. I have my theory that I think it is going to be this Ultraman character, the black figure who has the big U on his chest. People have been saying that's Ultraman. At first, I thought it was Ulysses, but it turns out that that is Ultraman due to some merchandise that was out there a while ago. So it's an alternate Superman or some kind of evil version of Superman or something. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder if someone is going to be playing that version. Is it going to be the same actor playing the evil version of Superman or whoever Ultraman is in this? Are they going to do that, or is it going to be revealed to be someone else? I think they're definitely keeping that hidden. They're keeping that secret. So I'm sure we'll find out in the film whoever it is. But yeah, fans want Cavill back. Listen, I'm gonna say this in the most respectful way possible. I understand that there is a community and a group of people who love Henry Cavill as Superman. And although he may not be my favorite version of Superman, I may not like his version of Superman, I can appreciate what Henry Cavill did for the character. I can appreciate it. But I won't sit up here and tell you, like, okay, I want Henry Cavill back. Because that's not who I am, and I'm not going to lie to you. So if you feel that way, hey, that's your opinion. You're free to have that opinion. But for me, I'm glad we're getting a new Superman. I feel like all the stuff in the DCEU that we got just wasn't what DC needed. It needed a new direction, and we got it. So I'm just willing enough to just give it a chance just to see where it goes. I may or may not like Superman as a movie, but you got to be able to take that risk. Because if you stay in the past, that's all you're ever going to want is just stay in the past. So I'm taking this new Superman into just a fresh coat of paint, leaving all the things that other people comparisons, all that, leave that at the door for me because again, this is a new Superman. This is a new take on Superman, I'm sure. So that's how I feel about it. Again, you're gonna have your opinion and you're free to have that opinion, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna change how I feel about it because, you feel differently. That's just not how it works with me. But yeah, what's up, Anthony? You said, how are you doing, buddy? I'm looking forward to seeing Final Destination on Tuesday. I've been hearing good things about Final Destination. I've been hearing good things, so I'll definitely have to, at some point, check it out. I know next week I'm going to go see Mission Impossible with some friends again, so that's going to be cool. But I'll try to see if I can fit in a day to check out, Final Destination because grew up with those films, and I tell you, man, nightmares, nightmares on nightmares. Never drive behind a log truck. If you know, you know. So, yeah. I'm sure those movies instilled a lot of fear in us for a lot of things. Uh, so yeah, Destination iconic. But yeah, to you guys in the chat, if you're here, if you're still here, what did you guys like about this trailer? What did you guys like about just anything? Whatever it is, it could be anything about this trailer. Just anything. What's up? Oh, you're good, man. You're good, man. I just started. I was supposed to start at 5, but what I did was I actually rewatched the trailer over again before I started just to kind of get a refresher on what I saw, what I thought, just kind of things like that. So, yeah, you're good. But yeah, is there anything else? The Clois scenes, we got Clark and Lois in here. So I definitely want to see how they develop that relationship if there already was a relationship before they started because she's interviewing him, so it's kind of like, yeah, she's definitely going to find out about him being Superman. It's just, does she already know before the movie starts? Is she gonna find out halfway through or maybe earlier within? Obviously, she's gonna figure out some way, shape, or form, and I would imagine this is probably how she's going to. Maybe this is the start of the movie. Maybe just her interviewing him. Maybe that's how they do it, but uh I think she's obviously going to figure out who Superman is. Like, so just a matter of when. Jill, you said the best part was Luther in the fortress. I've never seen that in a cartoon. Yeah, that is true. We haven't really seen anything like that before. So again, this movie is doing things that hasn't been done in any DC media, at least like cartoon wise, or even some stuff, maybe even comic wise. Again, I haven't read every single Superman story, but some of the stories I have read, I haven't really seen Lex Luthor do anything like that in particular. So again, they're doing big strides with this film. Let's see, what did you say, Carter? Yeah, I like that trailer as much as I love the Ironheart trailer. Yeah, yeah. Um, man, it's tough because I'm the trailer did get me interested in Ironheart, and I've said it before. Um, I'll be honest, like I said, I've said it before. I was very adamant about Ironheart, and in a little bit of a way, I still am. But I will say I do think the trailer did kind of warm me up just a little bit. I just hope that her character is much better written in her show than in Wakanda Forever for me. So you guys know Wakanda Forever is not a movie I liked. It's not a movie I enjoyed. It's for obvious reasons, but just other reasons as a whole. But again, that's a whole another topic for another time. But I just hope that her character is written better than what it was in the movie. And again, no disrespect to the actress. She did what she could with what she had to work with. But I'm hoping that the show was good. That's all I can say. I hope it's good. I hope it's another win for Marvel. So yeah, that's how I feel about it, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I like I said, I thought it was a good trailer, but just got to see on the show. I'm just gonna see on the show, and I won't talk too much about it. But I know there's a big hate train for the show. I know I've seen it. There's people, disliking my reaction. People telling me no one wants to see this. No one wants to see a black woman, take over Spider-Man. No one wants to see, not Spider-Man, but take over Iron Man, which is not like she's taking over Iron Man. She's a original character who's just so happens to be friends with Tony Stark. Like that's really all it is. It's not even her trying to take. It's not even her taking over being Iron Man. So I don't know where people get that conception from. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Someone can maybe inform me on that. But yeah. Anyway, we're getting back to Superman because, yeah, Superman. That trailer, that trailer was just something, man. There's so many details, and I know there's tons of breakdowns that are going to be happening for the trailer, but there's so many little details, even with the street signs, right? Like there's like Lee Street or Lee Road, right? Like Jim Lee, right? He's like head of DC Comics. But for me, Jim Lee is the guy who to me cemented the X-Men as far as an artist, artistry wise. I won't say he cemented the X-Men as a whole cuz that's more of a Chris Claremont thing, but I will say that Jim Lee did cement an era of the X-Men that's very iconic and still holds to a lot of praise to this day. That's what I will say. Um, as far as that, but again, he's done work for DC. He's done Superman. He's drawn Superman before. He's done Batman Hush. Obviously, he's done that. So it's really cool to see just different creators, comic book artists, writers, and stuff just having their own little street signs as a little homage. I think that's really nice. I like seeing stuff like that. The point in the trailer that really got me that like I want to see more of this is Superman crashes down onto Earth, and the man, he looks at him and he starts to say like, hey, you need some help. Like people start to gather around him, and that man, he takes it out of his opportunity to help up Superman. It reminded me so much of if you ever played basketball. You ever play basketball, maybe with a group of friends, or maybe you were on a basketball team, or maybe you saw, an NBA game. You fall down, and what am I trying to say? You fall down, and your teammate grabs you and says like, "Okay, good play, right? Good play." Kind of that. That's what that reminded me of. That was a very long-winded explanation, but you guys got what I was trying to say. So yeah, that's one of my favorite shots. There's so many like dope shots, but that's one of my favorite. Again, anything like Fortress of Solitude wise, I thought was really dope. My favorite shot is Superman battling the armored villain. I think it's a Kryptonian criminal. They actually confirmed who that is. That's the Hammer of Baravia. I don't know much about the Hammer of Baravia, but I do know they confirmed it because there's like a newspaper clipping a while ago that had Superman on the image, and it was from the Daily Planet. and it was like Hammer of Baravia, Superman stops Hammer of Baravia, or something like that. I remember. And then there was like another one with Superman stopping a train. So we're probably gonna see some of those events play out throughout the movie. And D Diver, my brother. So is it a first day watch for you? It is. It is a first day watch for me. I teased it. Do you guys, and maybe I might be the only one that feels this way, but do you guys feel that this is a summer of Superman? Do you guys feel like Superman is gonna take over the summer? Or do you think that Fantastic Four is on the horizon? You know what I mean? Like do you think that do you think that which movie do you think is going to be the best movie, but also the most successful movie? Because I mean, both movies are very highly anticipated. Both movies are based off of characters that really started what we have today. Without Superman and the Fantastic Four, I mean, what are we doing? You know, what would we even be talking about right now? Like without them, that we don't have these characters, all the other Marvel and DC characters that we have. So there's a lot of big stake for both movies. But if you were to say that, yeah, 100%, like you said, D, if you were to say that Superman is like the top of the line movie, like this is the summer of Superman, then I wouldn't argue with you because again, from what we've seen so far of just the trailers alone, there's a lot of just there's a lot of compelling things to look forward to. And like you say, Chillmonger says Superman makes 300 million more than Fantastic Four. And you know what? I see that being a possibility. And I don't think, Fantastic Four is going to in any way um I won't say Fantastic Four won't be a successful movie because I'm looking forward to both. And even though I still have a little bit of a slight, just a little bit for Fantastic Four, again, if Superman was to take it, I wouldn't be, I wouldn't argue with it because again, Superman is just the not to say that Fantastic Four aren't iconic characters. Obviously they are, but I feel like Superman is just more universally known. So I feel like there's gonna be again maybe a slight edge for Superman, but then I could see it going the different way around where Fantastic Four may do something crazy with the story somehow and it ends up beating Superman. But all in all, I just think it's a W either way for Marvel and DC just having movies come out at the same time. Around the same time of summer, and it just gives something for people to do during the summertime, something to look forward to. So either movie may the best movie win. That's all I can say. May the best movie win. I just want both of them to succeed. You know, bold statement, but I think Superman will break 1 billion. I could see it. It may be a bold statement, but you know what? I could see it. Honestly, if the story is good, if the script is good, if people are willing to go out to see it, I can definitely see a possibility of it reaching 1 billion. You know, same with Fantastic Four. If the story is good, if you know the people are willing to go see it, I see Fantastic Four being a 1 billion dollar movie. Imagine how dope it would be if both movies got 1 billion, right? Like imagine. Um, that would probably be one of I don't know if that's ever happened before. It probably has happened before, but in the comic book movie world, I don't know if that's ever happened before. So it would be some very interesting. Yes, it is the summer of Superman, not only the summer of superheroes. Yeah, it is. It is the summer of superheroes. Again, I don't think they picked a better time, both Marvel and DC. I don't think they picked a better time to release these films because people are going to be out of school, you know, college and stuff. Obviously people are going to be still working, but I don't think people are going to be, working just as hard. So I think this gives people the leeway to be like, okay, I'm gonna go see Superman when that comes out. When Fantastic Four comes out, I'm gonna go see that. Maybe I'll go see both. Who knows? Maybe there is a possibility that there could be and this is wild, another Barbie and an Oppenheimer situation. And I know that was a once in a lifetime thing, but there could be a possibility where people do a double feature, where people go see Superman, people go see Fantastic Four, and vice versa. It's a possibility. So again, I think both movies have a big risks and big leaps, and I think both Marvel and DC are really hoping and honing in on these projects to be a success because they both need it. They both need it. So I definitely do. There's a lot of stake. There's a lot of stake at this. I do think Fantastic Four should catch up a bit, surpassing Rebirth. Just saying. I mean, like I said, there's a lot. It's tough, man. It's tough to have this conversation because, again, both movies have something going for them, and again, there's a lot of stake with both movies. It's just a matter of what movie, or if they can't see both movies, what movie is going to crawl for people to say like, okay, I want to go watch this. Then you have to think about Jurassic World. Even though people, I could see people are kind of turned off by Jurassic World. The last movie wasn't that good, so I could see people kind of being like, I don't know about Jurassic World. The Smurfs movie, unfortunately, the Smurfs movie, no disrespect, but that movie just doesn't look visually pleasing. And the idea that it's a musical, I mean, it would have been cool, but I think the attempt is just not appalling. I'm sure the kids will watch it. The kids will go watch it. But personally, for me, I like the Smurfs, but I'm not trying to see the Smurfs sing a bunch of popular songs from the 2010s. I mean, there's been plenty of other movies that we've seen that have done that before, so I'm not really trying to see that concept again, personally. But like I said, both Superman, Fantastic Four, they're definitely going to be the movies that I feel like dominate the box office in, you know, July. Again, Jurassic World could also be another sleeper hit, so maybe that one does take some leeway, but we'll just have to see. But honestly, I'm gonna ask you guys a simple question. If you had say for example you had the opportunity right now, if both movies were to come out right now, what movie are you wanting to see more? Just based off of everything you've seen so far, everything you've heard so far, what movie are you really itching to go see more? Because I think that's a really good discussion to have, and I think I want to do a stream like that in the future where we just kind of discuss like what movie do people ultimately want to see more, but it's not going to be like we think that this movie's gonna be, this way because it's that way for, a specific reason. It's just that I don't know, just an interesting conversation to have. Awful. You say it's awful, and you haven't even seen the movie. Again, there was someone else in the stream earlier, and maybe it's you on the same account. I understand that you guys respect and loved Henry Cavill, but I hate to tell you, that time is done. Unless they decide to do a Kingdom Come movie or a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie 30 years from now, the Henry Cavill era is done. I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to accept it. It is what it is. Again, I understand you like Henry Cavill, you appreciate his Superman, and I respect that. I respect that. I'm never gonna take that away. But at the same time, that era's done. It's done, and it's not coming back until they feel again, years down the road, that they want to do a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, which they shouldn't, in my opinion, be thinking about that until again, 30 to 40 years from now. That's just not gonna happen. That's just how I feel about it. So yeah. Oh, I love dinosaurs and superheroes. Cannot pick. Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, you have dinosaurs, You have a Kryptonian alien, you have a cosmic family, and then you just got blue people, right? You got a bunch of blue people hanging around. When you really think about it, this is definitely an obscure. July is going to be an obscure month for movies. Although they all have, although they're all fantasy films, like they're all fantasy films, right? I just think that at the price of like dinosaurs, people love dinosaurs. People gonna go see the dinosaurs. People love Kryptonian stuff, right? Superman, people gonna go see that. Cosmic Family, Marvel's first family. People are gonna go see that. So again, it's just all a matter of choice. But I'm banking on both Superman and Fantastic Four to succeed. I'm banking on them to be a W for both companies. But yeah, I swear, man, like it's again, like I don't want to rant, but I just want to say, like again, it's okay if you like Henry Cavill. It's okay if you like Christopher Reeves. It's okay if you like Brandon Ralph. What makes it dope is that we have all these versions of Superman that you can enjoy and like. And not everyone is going to like the same versions of Superman, and that's okay. That's fine. But hating on a movie, you know, sending death threats to people, sending death threats to the actors and actresses and production team who work hard on these films, that's where you draw the line. That's where your hate for something becomes so extreme that at that point you don't even need to even be in the topic of the conversation of whatever it is you're mad about, because again, you're taking it to the extreme. You're taking it to the extreme, and that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. I draw the line with that. Again, you don't have to like the character. You don't have to like the portrayal of the Superman, and that's fine. We have so many different versions of Spider-Man, and I'm gonna use this as an example. We have so many versions of Spider-Man that it's almost impossible for you to not find a version that you like, right? Some people like Peter Parker, some people like Miles Morales, some people like Gwen Stacy, some people like Hobie Brown, some people like Jessica Drew. Whoever it is, whatever version of Spider-Man or Spider-Person you like for a specific reason. But that's what makes this dope, because it's all the same character. It's just a different interpretation, right? So, same with Batman. Some people love Michael Keaton's version. Some people like Kristen Bell. Some people like Val Kilmer. Some people like Kevin Conroy. Some people like Hamish Linklater. There's so many different versions of Superman, Batman, all these characters, James Bond, that if there is a version that you don't like, I'm sure out of those versions, there's going to be one that you maybe like slightly more than the other, and that's okay. I don't find a problem in that. I find the problem is when people attack other people because they're excited for a new version or a new take on something, and they don't understand it because, again, they're still a fan of what was in the past. Again, nostalgia is cool, but nostalgia can also be overbearing because people find that that's all they need. That's all they ever need. They don't need a new Superman. They don't need a new Batman. They don't need a new thing. And I find a problem with that. I find a problem with that because every generation, if we want to keep these characters going, we have to realize that there is a new generation. And not every generation is going to like the version that you like or grew up with. And that's, again, that's okay. That's fine. Henry Cavill is Ultraman and Ben Affleck is Owlman. I mean, that would be a wild theory. Imagine Henry Cavill as Ultraman. Imagine that. We may not even know who Ultraman is, but what if he is? What are the implications of that? You know what I mean? Like, we don't even know. And the reason why I thought about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Peacemaker Season 2 trailer really got me thinking about something. And I know this is really, really, really wild to think about. Okay, you saying, okay, bro, this is not about Henry Cavill. It's about the character itself. Is he past? Wait, we as fans deserve respect. This is an ideological movement, not for the fans. Well, here's the thing about your movement, though. Your movement is completely eradicating your whole thing, right? You want Henry Cavill to come back as Superman, right? But Henry Cavill's clearly moved on. If the man has clearly moved on from it, he's not the one making a post every single day complaining about not being Superman anymore. Clearly he's moved on. He has other projects that he's getting casted for and he's working on. Yes, I'm sure eternally it really bothered him that he's not going to be able to play Superman. But the thing about this business is you have to understand that this is a business at the end of the day. And sometimes you have to do what's best for business. And Henry Cavill coming back is not what was best for business. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to give you the straight, hard truth. Henry Cavill, his era is done. Okay? That's all it is. It's done. There's nothing you can do about it. Again, I respect that you like Henry Cavill as Superman. I respect that. But again, going on to other people's streams and videos and hating it and saying all this stuff and again, death threats, you're ODing the situation. You're ODing it. That's how I feel about it. And I'm not going to talk any more about it. So if you want to, continue to talk with yourself about it, you can talk with yourself about it. But anyway, we're moving back into the topic at hand. I'm getting distracted. So yeah, back into the topic. I want to ask, what elements of this Superman movie would you like to see? Like, is there a thing that Superman, maybe from the comics or maybe from another movie or from an animated series, whatever it is, right? What versions would you, what, not versions, what elements would you like to see maybe explored or maybe kind of teased with this Superman? Because, I mean, there's so many different directions with this being a new universe. And now coming back to it, I didn't even express my Peacemaker theory. But the reason why I say like Henry Cavill, it would be kind of funny if he was Ultraman. And the reason why I say that is because with Peacemaker season 2 really made me think about these pocket dimensions, right? Like what if other actors are playing other characters? Like we know Jason Momoa is Lobo. We know that, right? So what other actors could potentially play other characters that we haven't seen yet? There's always that possibility. And I know that might get things confused. That may be confusing for people because it's like, wait a minute, wasn't he just, so and so in that movie? Now he's this? How does that work? So again, and even then, even with that Peacemaker thing, I'm still kind of wondering how are they gonna connect that because what we saw in the trailer with Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and Maxwell Lord, right? Like we saw him Peacemaker meet up with them. Maybe he was trying to be on the Justice League team or whatever it is, Justice Gang or whatever they decide to call the group, right? Does this happen before all this or does this happen after? It would only make sense for it to happen after because why would they be playing an older version of themselves, right? Why would they be playing an older version? Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I would imagine they try to recruit Peacemaker, or maybe Peacemaker tries to recruit himself into the Justice Gang after we get, the other DCEU Peacemaker. He probably takes him out. And that'll be that, right? Maybe that's even in the first episode. So that's definitely a question, but it did make me think about that. What if there is a possibility of other actors and actresses playing like different characters? hopeless Superman and inspiring hope into people. Exactly. Like, Superman is a character, yes, Superman has gone through some stuff. And yes, Superman, he has had some dark moments. But Superman is not an all dark edge lord that people like to make him seem. And I blame a lot of it, and this isn't me trying to blame stuff, but I blame a lot of it with the direction of the DCEU. They spent so much time trying to make Superman this like heartless individual that I wouldn't even walk two steps to even try to get help from. Like it's to me, if the DCEU Superman was in the mist and I need help, I wouldn't even bother to ask him because I would be too afraid that his Superman would laser my entire body down to reduced atoms. That's how I feel. That's not how Superman should be. Superman should be the kind of person that you could walk up to him and say, "Hey, Superman, can you help me with this? My car is broken down. Can you help me, maybe get a jump back in my car?" And Superman would be like, "Yeah, of course. I got you. I can help you with that." Not hey, Superman, can you help me with that? Why do you need my help for? I have much important things to do. Like that's not how Superman's supposed to be, right? That's how they made him. They made him like that. Now we're getting a more hopeful and optimistic Superman. And now people are like, well, this isn't the Superman I know. Well, it's because the Superman you know is inaccurate to the Superman you know, to how Superman actually is. So that's why he doesn't feel like what you're used to. So that's all it is. Peacemaker encounter. His DCEU self, that's supposed to be him. White Dragon is a hero. Yeah, I saw in there he's actually Red Dragon. In the DCU, he's Red Dragon. So that's going to be interesting again with the implications of what this movie is going to be. So Peacemaker obviously takes place after Superman because and maybe it could take place before. Who knows? It could take place before, but to me, again, it just only makes sense for this to take place like right after, Peacemaker to take place right after Superman, and then maybe Hot Girl and Guy Garner they still work with Maxwell Lord for some time. That's still something that happens, right? Or who knows? Maybe they're bait and switching us. Maybe the suits that we saw in the trailer, maybe they have different suits in the show. Trailers are known to do that all the time. I mean, I'll give you an example. They altered one of the scenes in the trailer. The scene with Superman and all the people are angry and gathered around him, and the man throws a can in the back of his head. Well, in the first trailer, remember, Superman, he blinked. In this trailer, he doesn't blink. So they have altered some scenes in trailers before, and they don't play out the same in movies. So that's again, there's always a possibility with that too. But yeah, I'm still curious on what the the scene with Lois and Clark, right? Like they're being romantic, and there's a creature out in the window, right? It looks like some kind of squid creature, but I don't know. Could it be Bizarro? Could it be something else? Could it be Parasite? What do you guys think that big floating thing is? The big pink floating thing in the sky. We saw that in the first poster of Superman. And that poster of Superman, I don't think it did it any justice. No, no pun intended. I don't think it did Superman any justice with how they shot that poster or how they captured it. I think the poster that we got now is the one that we should have got in the first place. That poster, just him with his arms folded like that, that's Superman. That's Superman to me. With just the smile on his face. That's Superman. That's how it should have done. Not him bending over a chair trying to put his boots on and he's like angry, right? Like he looks upset. And I'm sure being Superman is not an easy job. It's definitely not an easy job. It's a stressful job. And I'm sure he does have some frustrations. We saw him get a little bit frustrated in the trailer with Lois. He was trying to explain his reasoning for things. And Lois is looking at it from the, again, being a part of the newspaper, part of the media. The media is always going to think of things through a different lens. And sometimes they'll use certain words and phrases to kind of catch you off guard because they know that's a way to kind of trip you into the questions or the responses that they want to get out of you. Media has always been known to do that, right? So in this case, with Lois and her media experience, that's what she's doing with Clark here. And as we can see, Clark he raised his voice up to an octave at her because he was trying to say like this is a part of the job. This is what it's like being Superman. Like if not, people were gonna die. I had to do what I had to do, and that's how it is for most heroes. They don't want to sacrifice a whole lot of things. They don't want to have to make a hard decision. But if it's best for the case scenario, they have to do what they have to do. So yeah, that's OG. Yeah, yeah, that was a old poster that they put out. I can't believe that's how far we've come. And that was literally what last year when we got that poster. Um, I know people have been saying the new poster looks too video gamey, and I'm like, I don't think it looks video gamey. I just think it's just a different style of poster. I just think the bright, colorful elements it's new, it's different, but I like the bright and colorful, I don't know what kind of style that is artistically. I'm sure my buddy Kendrick, who's art, he's like very known for doing a lot of art things. I might have to ask him what that kind of style is, but it's kind of like the cosmos, right? Again, it's kind of like that brush, kind of like a brush style to it. I like that personally. I like the blue and red and white and light blue. I like that. It just adds more to this Superman being a bright and colorful figure as opposed to what we've seen in the past. So yeah, Parasite maybe. It could be Parasite. Honestly, it could be him. I the two things for me, or the two theories for me, is if it's Parasite or Bizarro. So it could be either one of those. Metamorphosis, we got a little bit of Metamorphosis in here too. I'm really curious to see how Superman and Metamorphosis interact. Seeing that both of them got locked up in Lex Luthor's lair, and his lair is like a pocket dimension. So again, you're seeing a running theme with Peacemaker and Superman. Pocket dimensions are definitely going to be something that we see more of with more projects. I wouldn't be surprised that Booster Gold has a pocket dimension where he has all of his suits and inventions and stuff like that from the future. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that at some point when we get that. So pocket dimensions is definitely something I just continue to notice as a theme. So it really makes me wonder if James Gunn is really trying to set up an interdimensional story with this new DC universe. It just makes me wonder. Yeah, I think I talked about I talked about Superman. I talked about the engineer. I guess I could ask a little bit more about the engineer. What did you guys think about the engineer? Do you like her so far? What you've seen? Do you think? Do you wish we would have seen more of her? I wish we would have got some dialogue, even if it was just a little small one liner here or there. I do wish we would have got some dialogue with her because she is an interesting character, again, from what I've read, but I just don't know that much about her. But I know, seeing the actress, post on her social media and stuff that she's like very indebted to the character. So I'm really curious about her portrayal of the character and what that means going forward. If, James Gunn wants to continue doing the Authority movie or animated movie or series or whatever he was talking about doing at the time. I'm curious about what her whole thing is. I think she's definitely going to. She may not be fully on board with Superman's ideology about being a superhero, but I definitely see her maybe taking little fragments here and there and kind of putting two and two together of her own way of wanting to handle villains and things of that nature. Because from what I've read, the Authority, they're anti heroes, right? Like, they do what, by any means necessary, they do what they need to do to get the job done. And if that means pruning people off the timeline for YouTube's sake, then that's what they're going to do. They're going to prune people off the timeline. So, again, so many just elements that are just building up upon this movie. And this movie has to be good. It really does. It has to be good. You have to bring it in with this. It has to be a big swing. Because if not, then it's kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? If the one character that DC has built its entire history upon, we can't even get a successful Superman movie. How are we supposed to feel about the rest of the universe? You know what I mean? And I don't want that to be the case. I want this movie to be good. I want it to do well in theaters. And I think it will. I really do. Same with Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four has to do well. I know people. Again, I haven't seen the old Fantastic Four movies, so I can't speak on them. But I've heard people like the first two Fantastic Four movies that came out. The third one people didn't like. Um, so with that in mind, they have to do something different with this Fantastic Four. So again, it just brings me back to my point of both Marvel and DC have big major swings and they need a home run with both. They really do. They need a home run. So again, just looking forward to it. David Corenswet, I said it before, but David Corenswet's Superman reminds me so much of my adventures with Superman. Just kind of in the way how his mannerisms are, the way he talks, even down to like his appearance too. Like his appearance, if you were to put the Clark Kent from that cartoon to David Cornsweat's, you can see the comparison. Like you can really see it, and even down with like, I won't spoil it, but if you saw My Adventures with Superman and you saw the last episode of season two, you can kind of see where I'm going with the new thing they introduced for him, right? Like you kind of see like, okay, it makes you wonder. I don't know if they probably won't ever canonize it, but it almost makes me wonder if My Adventures with Superman was ever going to be like James Gunn's DCU animated versions of Superman. Like it almost makes me wonder that that might not even be the case, but I can't help but wonder just due to the comparisons that I think about from that show into again how this Superman is. Shout out to Jack Quaid, Jack Quaid, he's a legend, man. Novocaine. If you guys haven't seen Novocaine, it is an insane movie that I really enjoyed. So shout out to that. Obviously, the boys, Huey. Come on now. Um, Jack Quaid, man, he's an all star for sure. So yeah. Also, we got Pa Kent and Mon Kent in here too. So it seems like they're doing a version where Pa Kent and Ma Kent aren't gone. They're not dead. So, because I thought that what they were gonna do, and maybe they still will do it. Maybe that scene that we saw is like earlier within the movie. But my idea was that maybe Ma Kent this time is the one that passes, and Pa Kent is the one that is still alive. You know what I mean? Kind of like an inverse switch of what we know. They could do that, but I wonder, like, what if his parents are like, what if Ma Kent and Pa Kent are still alive, right? What if they're still there? Obviously, his parents are dead. Obviously, like we know that, but it just makes you wonder. So yeah, I suggest you check up the early 2000s movies of the Fantastic Four. Yeah, I've been saying that I wanted to watch those. I think around I say give it June, so maybe next month. I'll do like a live review for you guys, and I'll kind of talk about the Fantastic Four movies. Kind of as a on we're on the road to Fantastic Four. I would do that for the Superman movies, but I gotta be honest. Love Christopher Reeves, but man, it was hard getting through Superman 3. It was really hard getting through that film. And it wasn't his fault. It was just there were so many just script things. Richard Pryor, they just made a completely different character. They even bothered to bring back Lex Luthor. Uh, there was just so much wrong with that film, and just even like there's a scene in the movie where you literally see the lines where Superman, where they have Christopher Reeves, right? You literally see the production lines of him coming down onto the ground, right? Like that just felt so low budget. And I just didn't understand, like, they didn't even care about this film to even bother to remove that. You know what I mean? Like obviously Superman 1 and 2, you see the quality. But then when you get to 3, the quality is just gone. Like I don't even understand like what they were even at that time thinking about. Where did they just not have enough money on the production side of things? Like I want to know what happened, and I don't even think I even want to watch Superman 4 because that movie, I've heard it was bad. It was bad. So I don't even know if I even want to bother to even touch that movie. And then, I mean, you have to get into Superman Returns and all that. So maybe I could do like a live thing where I talk about those films, but I don't know if I will. I might just do Fantastic Four, but if what do you guys think? Do you guys think I should rewatch all of the Superman movies and give you like a live review of each one, what I thought about it? Because if so, I mean I can, along with Fantastic Four, since we're again, I guess you could say we're on the road to those films. The summer, so the superhero summer, the super fantastic, the Fantastic Man, whatever you want to call it. We're on the road to. So just let me know. Solomon, what's up, man? What's up? We're just talking about Superman and Fantastic Four and things of that nature. A lot of great questions, lot of great conversations. So Solomon, I gotta ask you, what did you think of what did you think of the trailer? What was your favorite thing in the trailer? Uh, Things like that. Like I'd be down to know what you thought of the trailer, what you like, what you want to see more of. Did this get you excited for the movie? Do you think this is the summer of Superman? Are you more excited about Superman than Fantastic Four? Or are you more excited about Fantastic Four than Superman? Or are you equally excited for both? Like, Just let me know. Like, well, I want to pick your brain. Like, I want to hear what you think about it, about all of it. I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, so I'm gonna just say V. Nobody will ever top George Reeves, but Cornsweat will deliver a good movie. James Gunn will deliver a good movie. Yeah, that's understandable. Um, I mean, Christopher Reeves, come on, Christopher Reeves, he's iconic. First ever, well, he's not the first ever live action Superman. We've had live action Superman before, but I'd say in the mainstream era, he's the first ever Superman that we've gotten that I feel like was very beloved, very popular, that still holds on true to Superman. So I understand. Christopher Reeves is still my favorite version of Superman. Um, Live action wise, animation wise, for me, it's kind of tough because obviously Justice League cartoon version of Superman, dope. My Adventures with Superman version, dope. So that's kind of more of a conversation of what era, what era. But I think live action wise, if you said Christopher Reeves is your favorite Superman, I wouldn't argue it with you. Again, people are gonna like Henry Cavill, and again, if you like Henry Cavill, that's you're free to do so. And again, that's what's so dope about this is that we have so many different versions of Superman that if you don't any of the live action versions, there's animated versions of the characters that I'm sure you might potentially like, or maybe not even from the cartoons. Maybe you just like the comics. You like his comic runs, whether it's All Star Superman, Superman for All Seasons, World's Finest Superman, whichever version of the comics that you like, you know, that's dope in itself too. But I do think I have a good feeling that David Corenswet he will do a good job. I have a good feeling about his performance as Superman. I really do. I have a good feeling about his performance. Yes, do reviews for those. Okay, well, I'll try to do some reviews. I can't make a promise of that, but I'll try what I can. And like I said, I'll rewatch all the Superman movies, rewatch the Fantastic Four movies, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it live or whatever. So yeah, just stay tuned. Maybe that's something I could do in June. I do plan to do like a stream a thon in June. I was gonna do it in May, but I don't know if I'm gonna have any time to do it in May. But I know in June I might be able to do a streamathon where every day I'll go live and maybe we can talk about each movie or different topics. It just depends. But yeah, I don't know if you're still here, Solomon, but if you have any thoughts on what you thought of the trailer, let me know. I'm trying to see if I missed any comments. I don't believe I have. No, I don't believe I've missed any comments. I guess this could be a good time to plug myself. So, if you guys haven't, uh, my name is Josh, aka JaceTheDon, and I do an array of content over here. I talk Marvel, DC, animation. Try to get into video games. I don't think I will. At least not at the current moment. I just don't think video games are gonna be the move right now. At least not on this channel. Maybe on a separate channel, I could probably do that. But as far as like video games wise, unless maybe it's like something Marvel related, I might be able to get away with it. But as far as or DC, but as far as like that goes, I don't think I'm gonna be talking video games on here, unfortunately. But stay tuned because who knows, there might be something in the works fairly soon. That's all I'll say about it. I can't make any promises. But yeah, uh, I've done some reaction content as of recently. A ton of reactions. I did a reaction to Spider Noir, which that's something we gotta talk about. Maybe that's a stream I'll do tomorrow if I'm not busy. Maybe we could talk Spider Noir tomorrow if you guys are down for that. So Spider Noir, obviously I did a reaction to that. I did a reaction to Ironheart today that came out. Got a reaction and a short. Obviously, I have a reaction and a short for Superman. So if you guys haven't checked those out, definitely check those out. I want to try to get as many eyes as possible, and it's not about views for me, but I guess I just want to try to grow my audience out more. I just feel like right now things just feel kind of small again. I feel like there was like a certain point in time where I was kind of like hitting it big, but then I took a break, and it's kind of like me trying to come back and trying to do a good amount of things that I wasn't doing before or just didn't have the opportunity to do that I'm trying now just to see. As far as that, I don't really see too much of a change, unfortunately, but I want to try to still continue to bring different things over here, even if it's not everybody's cup of tea. I still want to just try new things just to see, because you never know. You never know where it may go. You said, Carter, you said, did you hear about the Thunderbolts director wanting to direct the MCU X-Men? Thoughts? I did hear about that. I did hear about that. What I will say about that is the X-Men for me, you guys know I love the X-Men. They're behind Spider-Man for me is some of my favorite all-time Marvel characters. Um, so if you're going to do the X-Men, you have to do the X-Men right. And I just want someone who's able to do a balance of all these characters, tell their stories, tell all the different things they've dealt with throughout their livelihood, and just how they cope with being mutants in a world where people do not welcome them, right? Tell it in a way that's truthful. Don't hold back. I think people want the X-Men, but they want a watered down version of the X-Men. I don't want that. Give people the stone cold hard truth of what it is to be a mutant, what it is to be an X-Men. Because it may sound all good on paper, but in that reality, it's a really stressful, it's a really demanding thing, and it's a very mentally draining, because you go through so much. You're trying to save the world, you're trying to do the right thing. On the opposite end, you have people who are mutants who aren't doing the right thing because they feel like, well, what's the point of us trying to do the right thing? We live in a world where we feel oppressed. We live in a world where we feel like everything is against us. So why bother? You know? So I just want someone who is able to tell that story. And I don't even think one person should write the X-Men. I think you need a team. You need a team of people to write X-Men. And Jason Schreier, he did good with Thunderbolts. I like how he was able to balance each character and give them their own proper story. But I think you also need someone who is able to give that experience of what it's like to live in a world where you are looked at differently, you know, where you're hated, where you're not appreciated, where you're made to feel like you're the problem in the system, right? You need a team who's able to capture that. And I just don't think one person is enough to write the X-Men. You need a team. And you have to have a team that's able to, in my opinion, see the sides of things that they may not feel comfortable with seeing. Because the X-Men touch on a lot of different hard hitting subjects, some things that may hit too hard for people. And you have to be willing to find people who are able to handle that. So that's how I feel about it. So yeah, if they get Jason Schreier, that'd be cool. But I think they need someone else. They need a team. Oh, Ryan Coogler grew up on the X Men also. Yeah, I did see that video he did about Ironheart yesterday. He said like X Men were like one of the comics X Men X Force. Those comics were what he grew up on. I did think that was rather interesting for them to include that in the video. I don't know if that is any sign of him maybe either writing an X Men film or writing some kind of thing for X Men. Maybe. But again, like I said, I just think you need a group of writers for X Men. Not just the film, but the TV shows. All of this, you need a team, and you all really need to just sit down and brainstorm these ideas. How are we going to do this? How are we going to implement these characters? How are we going to introduce them? How are we going to, if Kevin Feige says that he's doing a 10-year plan with the X-Men, if that's his goal, he has to really think about, him, the writers, the directors, and everyone involved with the next mutant saga, or whatever they're going to call it, the next saga, right? They have to really sit down and really think about, okay, what are we going to do? We know we want the X-Men. We know we want to do the X-Men. But what are we going to do with this version of the X-Men that we know people, sides of the X-Men that we haven't seen before, sides of the X-Men that people who may know, who have read about the X-Men may know, but the casual audience may not know. So there's a lot of things that they really have to think about when doing a 10-year, having a 10-year plan for X-Men, you know? So that's my piece on it. That's my thoughts on it. I'd like to see Jason Schreier do something for X-Men, rather it is the X-Men film or maybe a solo X-Men TV series or whatever they want decide to do. Um, sure. That's actually another stream idea. You know, you're kind of giving me stream ideas cuz now I definitely do want to do a stream, and it would be about us creating an X-Men team of our own, right? Like who would we want on our X-Men team, right? Like what characters do we want to see in the MCU get introduced to the team? I think that would be a really good stream idea. That's definitely something I'll mark down. Maybe that's something we could do for the streamathon for June. That might be a good topic. Just gotta remind myself about it. That's the only thing. But yeah, in about 20 minutes or so, I'm probably gonna end the stream. I know it's a short stream, but I just wanted to talk Superman more than anything, and I don't want to repeat everything that I've said before. So I kind of want to just kind of keep it like short and simple if I can with you guys. There will be more longer streams. Like I said, tomorrow might be a longer stream. Although I mean it's Spider Noir that we're gonna talk about, so maybe not. I don't know. We'll find some topics. I'll try to see if I can find some topics to talk about, and we can go from there. In Multiverse of Madness, there was a deleted scene with Iron Man of Earth 838, who is superior Iron Man. Really? There is? Is that post credit scene online? I definitely don't. Deleted scene, is that online? I definitely don't remember hearing about that because I feel like that would have been like a really big deal for people to talk about. And I said it before. I think Multiverse of Madness is an overhated film. I really do think it's overhated. Do I think it's one of the best films? No, but I do think Multiverse of Madness is an overhated film. I do that. I do feel that way. You know. And I like the scene in the trailer where Crypto attacks. Yeah, Crypto attacks the engineer. Yeah, and the delete scene is not post credit scene, so it is a delete scene. I'll have to look that up tonight. I'll have to look that up tonight and see what I can find on that. We may not have gotten Superior Iron Man in that, but who knows what we might get in Secret Wars. We might get Superior Iron Man in Secret Wars. But now the question is, who plays Superior Iron Man? Because I mean, people have fan casted, Tom Cruise, but I kind of want Glenn Powell to play Superior Iron Man, but I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will. He might not be interested in doing Marvel films. Because there's that stigma in Hollywood that some people are like, oh yeah, if you do a Marvel film, your career is doomed to end. And maybe he may not just want to deal with, even though Secret Wars is like a one-off thing, so technically he could just come in and then maybe his Superior Iron Man gets killed off or whatever, uh, prune off the timeline in Secret Wars, then they could probably do that. But again, I don't know. Tom Cruise because I want to see how he does, but the actor you picked is a good choice. Yeah, like I said, either one. I mean, they both were in Top Gun, so um, either one works for me, really. Tom Cruise, I mean, Tom Cruise right now, he might be free because I heard the Final Reckoning. That's like the last Mission Impossible movie, which I like I said, I mentioned I'm going to go see next weekend with some friends. So I'll let you guys know what I thought about Mission Impossible if you guys want to know about it. I binged watch all the Mission Impossible movies recently. They're all on like Amazon Prime, so if you have Amazon Prime, they're all there. The only one that isn't there is six. I had to go on Paramount to watch that one. Final Reckoning looks cool. Yeah, it does look cool. It does look cool. So like I said, I'm hoping that it's good. It's thundering. I hope that it goes out with a bang for Mission Impossible. If this is the final film, who knows? This is Hollywood, right? You know, the rules of Hollywood is never say never. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But I'm very much looking forward to Mission Impossible. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions or comments or things about the movie, and even if you're watching this on replay, let me know what you thought of the trailer. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Were you indifferent? Anything, right? So yeah, I have. I'm guessing you have to go. You're saying I have to go. Great talking with you. Yeah, for sure. Great talking with you, man. Always great, Carter. You coming in, man. It's awesome, all you guys. I may not be, the biggest streamer in the world. I may not be the biggest creator in the world, but it's great to know that you guys are, when you can, just able to hop in and just, chat and whatnot. So it's really dope, really cool. I like doing these streams. If I had the opportunity, I'd be a full-time streamer if I had the pool. I don't have that pool quite yet. But one day we will get there to where I could do a stream maybe every day and stuff. The future is very bright. The future is very bright. So never say never. But yeah, if there isn't anything else, I can shout out. I'll shout out people. It's currently storming. Not like it hasn't rained any time before in a stream, but it's currently storming right now. Carson, what's up, man? Look up. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed your comment. What's up, Carson? So shout out to Carson, shout out to Chillmonger, shout out to Caden, shout out to Anthony, shout out to Carter, shout out to D Diver. Let's see. Solomon, shout out to you. I'm not sure you said anything else, but shout out to you, man. Shout out to V. And hey, Janine. Oh, welcome. I was just about to end the stream. You were saying, hey, I'm watching Me TV Tunes and the Yogi Bear Show, Snagglepuss, and Yakdoodle. Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying Me TV Tunes. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's been like a year since that's been out too, which is insane. But yeah, glad you're enjoying it. Glad you guys could come by and talk Superman with me. Um, so I'll leave it off with, if you haven't, you're new here, you like the content, you like this kind of content over here, subscribe, share, tell friends, tell your mom, tell your cat, tell your dog, tell everybody, tell Crypto if you know him. Uh, Tell Superman if you know him. Even Lex Luthor, the biggest hater on earth, he may hate what I do, but tell him. Hate engagement included, because trust me, I get a lot of hate engagement from people. So that's still engagement, so I'll take it. But anyway, with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into the stream. Ton of videos out there, like I said, Spider-War reaction, Superman reaction, Ironheart reaction, all that good stuff, all on the channel, at your disposal. Just pick your favorite flavor of sauce, I guess. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, but yeah, as I always say, you guys got a goal, you guys got a dream, go for it. Just do it. Do it better than anything you could ever imagine, and the right path will lead you where you need to go with the right people. You watching. I see. Yeah, Janine, I see you got a busy schedule going on. You got a lot of things to watch. Well, I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy all your shows and things like that. And I hope you do good. I hope everybody has a good week. I will most likely, if I'm not busy, I might do a Spider Noir stream tomorrow. We can talk about that if you guys want, or just chat, whatever uh, you guys want to do. But anyway, that's the end. Thank you guys so much. Uh, Big love to you all, and peace out. I should probably stop doing that. There we go.